Hey, we're live, everybody.
Hey, hello, everybody.
Listen here. I'm so excited to do stuff rapidly that I'm already out of breath.
Indeed. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Rapid Reviews, where we're going to talk about every game we played the last month. It was kind of both a slow and a fast month because we had Gen Con, which means we actually didn't play as many games as we thought we did, but it seemed like we did because we saw so many games.
Well, and
it was confusing.
A good portion of stuff was new, and we
Yes.
replayed a lot of things that we've been. So it's
Indeed. A little bit weird. But now let's Rapid Reviews. We're going to go through everything we played in the month. Make sure to like this video if you haven't already and subscribe down below. We are doing this live, so if you're watching afterwards, we're doing it live. And we are going to do a Q&A at the end, just like we always do at the end of our thing. Oh, Mikey, one thing, talk to the people. I forgot to grab our new patron.
Listen. Sasquatch says, heckin' Mike, heckin' you.
Heckin'.
You ever think about that? Yeah, you got wrecked. Yeah, we'll do some Q&A and stuff, but what we want to know in the chat is what have you been playing, what's been on your mind, what's been super duper exciting, new or old, new to you, whatever it is, what has captured your attention this month. We want to know that. And we'll tell you in the meantime what we played, what we're into, and all that jazz.
Indeed. Okay, Nick, first thing we do at the beginning of every month is we talk about our new patrons we had the last month because it's kind of a month review. We'll talk about new patrons. Thank you so much. You always get a shout out. We got Robert Sebrell. We got Ben League. We got 900. We got Emily Nielsen. Matt Maurice increased their pledge. Thank you so much, Matt Maurice. We got 10 by Chris, just straight up Chris. We got Dawson DeMars. We got Jimmy Parker. We got Sheral. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you, everyone. Appreciate that. Thank you to our new patrons, our continued and our previous patrons. It helps us a lot. Consider being a patron today. And in the meantime, we'll get into everything we played. As always, we talk about everything that is new to us first, and then we get into some repeats. So the first thing is, you haven't played this yet because I've been hogging it, to be fair.
Mike is mostly hogging it.
I played a lot of Legacy of You. This is a solo, fully resettable campaign game coming from Garfield Games. It's not quite to its campaign
Tuesday,
yet.
right? I'm guessing.
I think it's coming up on Tuesdays very soon anyway. We did do a full playthrough of this game, not the full playthrough, a spoiler-free playthrough. So if you don't want to have the story elements that are going on in this, because there are some really cool story stuff, none of that is spoiled in the playthrough that we did. This is a super duper fun game.
It feels like it.
It's so fun. It is. If you like Garfield games and stuff, a lot of resource management stuff. You're kind of managing this pool of workers and how you're using them to ultimately build canals before this flood comes and wipes you out, because there's been constant flooding along the Yellow River and you are trying to build canals and stuff. And there's also barbarians attacking your people. So you're just trying to protect your people. And it's a really tight resource maximization game. And it's really, really fun. And the cool thing is that it's a game where you're trying to get to 7 victories before you have 7 defeats. The story will end if you have 7 defeats or 7 victories, whichever you get to first. But the game sort of scales itself, because I'm not gonna lie, I did 4 straight losses to open up.
You did.
And they give you a little bit of like,
you literally emailed Shem being like, how can I be better at this game?
He said, get good, nerd. And I said, got it. But it changes the game. I think
you did.
Yeah.
You're a legend.
You're a legend. And then I think the game is kind of meant to sort of scale based off how you're doing. So if you're doing really well, probably the game's going to get harder. If you're doing really poorly, the game gets not easier, but they give you little bits of things to use.
Yeah, kind of Legacy does that. It's like if you're winning, it's going to get a little bit harder.
Your funding goes up if you're doing bad. So this game is super fun. It's fully resettable and stuff, so you could gift it on or replay it. You'll only see about 40 to 60% of the content in that first play. It's really good. It's so good. It's so fun. It's beautiful. Garfield Games, you cannot miss.
Hates it.
Anyway, so that's I rambled on and on. Apologies there.
Rapid. Next game we played was Terracotta Army. Rado in chat. Hello, Rado. Catching one of these lives. I think Rado also really likes this game. I think Rado said specifically that Board and Dice makes games for Rado. I feel the same way. Board and Dice, these kind of big games, they feel like they make them for us specifically. Terracotta Army is so dang good. You are building out a Terracotta Army. Or I guess you're one of the architects of the Terracotta Army. You're basically trying to get more of your statues in the mausoleum than anyone else in these kind of groups and kind of area control. It's got this really cool action wheel where when you put down an action, you're gonna do 3 actions on the 3 kind of wheels, but those wheels will turn. You can spend 2 coins to turn those wheels to get the better actions. It's super, super cool, but not too AP inducing, although it seems like it would be, because it looks almost like there's so many options, but it's really not.
They're all pretty actions easy. Are pretty simple, where it's like, get 3 clay. You're like, okay, that takes no brain power and it's well laid out. Or you can turn 3 clay to build a statue. And the cool thing I appreciate is like, you can build any of the 4 statues with that same price. You don't have to like
Yes.
keep track of like, well, this gives you this costs that and that costs this. Like, no,
This game could so easily become so overly complicated, and they did. And this game, honestly, is
they keep it smooth.
Yeah, it's one of the T games that this always debate. Is this a T game? It's not a game. It's a board and dice game. It starts with T, and it's big. It's a T game. Sorry, breaking to you. Of the big T games, this is honestly the most accessible because it's honestly the easiest in terms of the rules. It's not that complicated. The game, the strategy can get very complicated and very deep, but the rules itself really aren't, and it's really good. I mean, it's maybe gonna be my favorite board and dice game at this point. I really like my favorite board and dice game is Tuat and Suyu. I really love Tuat and Suyu. But this one is, ooh, man, it's so good. Terracotta Army is absolutely incredible. Really cool theme too. Just like building out the Terracotta Army is awesome. It's just rad. So Terracotta Army is an
cool way to do area control that doesn't involve killing anything.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just trying to build cool art.
Indeed.
Nick, we are among the many that played Cat in the Box during Gen Con.
We did.
And this is a trick-taking game, which you probably have heard of at this point because we all keep yammering on about it. But it's fun because the twist is that there are no suits to the cards.
Yeah.
The cards are black and white. They will be a color, but they don't have color themselves. And so you assign a card that says just a 3 to red. And now it is a red 3. Red happens to be the Trump suit. Oh my gosh, you have a very powerful card now. But you got to choose for it to be that color.
For whatever you want.
You don't have to follow suit, but if you don't follow suit, it comes with punishments essentially, because what you're trying to do ultimately in this, it's a trick-taking game where like, yes, you want to win tricks. Yes, you want to try to predict how many tricks you're going to win, but you also just want to stay alive. You don't want to be the one that causes a paradox because every time you play a 3 of blue or whatever, you put a little token down on the 3 blue space. Now, no one else can play a 3 of blue.
Yeah.
If you throw off suit, which you can totally do, you lose. Say I played green instead of blue. I now cannot play blue for the rest of the round. I lose the ability to play that color completely. So you're trying to make sure you have options available for you to keep playing cards that are legally playable still. So
it's wild. There's
lot of
so many things to think about. That's been a Cat in the Box. Like we've only played that one time. I am. We'll see. I have to play it some more. I am thinking at this point, at least right now, I'm like, it needs one of those things less.
Yeah, you were saying
there is so
many little.
It's like you choosing the suit of the card, but if you choose to go off suit, you lose this. Now you can't do that anymore. You can only play each thing once. You're trying to get clusters of your stuff, so you want to play similar numbers around each other. And then on top of that, but if you can't play, you create a paradox and then it ends the round. There's so many different things to think about. I honestly wish it had one less. Because to me, I just feel like for a trick-taking game, I don't want like a really complicated trick-taking game. And this game kind of started to feel like there was too many things to keep track of and think about.
It's definitely cheeky. It's cutesy. Like they put a lot of stuff in. For me, I like it. Try not to worry. I think maybe it's like, as you're playing, try to like not worry so much about one thing. Yeah. Because if you don't get your prediction right of like, oh, I'm going to win 3 tricks, you still get a point per trick you win. Do. So it's like, maybe don't worry so much about predicting correctly, or don't worry so much about making your groupings. I just like to focus on like, I want to make sure that I can stay alive. That's my only goal, is to try not to be the one that causes the paradox. And that's a fun enough game within itself. Yeah, and then maybe in time I can start to tailor my play.
Well, we also played at 5 players, and I
don't think you should play it.
I think I want to try this at
3 or 4. I think 3 is going to be.
I think 3 is going to be the good spot. I want to try to get a different player because we only played it once at 5. I did like it, but I was like, I think at 5 and with that many different things, it was a little much. Yeah. I did like it. I'm curious to try it more, but the jury's still out for me on Cat in the Box. I do like it, but I'm
respect
a little.
Respect. I don't think it's gonna 5. I mean, it's not the best.
It's not. It's too long. We stopped the game after 3 rounds. Yeah. And we were like, it's supposed to go 5. We were like,
I get that being like you want everyone to be able to play first because that could be an advantage for sure. I totally understand that, but then it just makes a much longer game at 5.
But nonetheless, we played Funfair as well. We've always been interested in Funfair and Unfair. Unfair we know can be very mean, hence the game Unfair. But I know there's modules you can play in there. There's essentially like sets of cards you can use. Some of them are not nearly as mean as other ones. Some are like super mean.
People are saying you kind of Arc Nova it, where it's like you can just like not do the mean stuff.
Yeah,
and then like you can like focus on other things.
Whereas Funfair is I'm not sure how similarly they play, but nonetheless, this is just a tableau building game. But there's no meanness. There's no like letting, messing each other up or destroying people's stuff or anything like that. I liked it. It was it's very quick. It's like 30 minutes.
Yeah,
it's a pretty easy little tableau builder.
Yeah, you can build up kind
where
of
essentially you're putting in like rides. You can put in like big thrill rides, like roller coasters or like food places or something like that. And then you can essentially attach stuff to it. So like the food place, you can attach like an air conditioning unit to it. You're like,
make it nice and nice.
That'll get you more points.
Put a jungle theme on things.
Yeah, you can put like this one's got a robot theme and stuff like that. And you're having to pay for all these things. You can get some employees that help you out and give you like special powers and stuff like that. It's very simple. It's very quick. I liked it. I think this is a great little like, especially this. It's like for like kind of a next step game for people because it's such a cool theme. Like, hey, you're building that theme park. And like, yeah, right.
It's very accessible.
Like you can have this roller coaster and then you can put like a big corkscrew loop on it, and that makes it better. People are like, oh, that's cool. I really think this could be a great way to get more people deeper into the hobby. It's not a gateway game, but the kind of next step, getting people to dive a little bit deeper. I honestly think this is a great one. It's got a great theme. It's got a great look. Mr. Cuddington art,
the
absolutely
art's insane.
Bonkers good.
It's super pretty.
It's really, really fun, and it's simple and it's quick. I really like Funfair a lot.
Cozy Little Brown House says, we don't play Unfair very mean at all.
Yeah.
And Funfair is a weeknight game, and Unfair is a weekend game. I think it's a beautiful...
How lovely is
like
that?
Top 10 weeknight games.
How fun is that?
I'm write that down in my brain.
And Cozy Little Brown House said, Claim's our favorite trick-taking game. That's my personal favorite trick-taking game.
You're going to see that pop up
tomorrow, technically. This hat is for Aaron Burr.
Ain't I
ham. But Funfair is very fun. Oh, we played Get On Board. We have been wanting this. So this is kind of the new version of Let's Make a Bus Route.
Yes.
Which is a game by Sashi and Sashi, but it's really only available in Japan. It's very hard to get it here. I know the BGG store was selling it for a while.
Yeah, but it's not readily available.
Difficult. It's expensive to get here. And so Yellow picked it up. I think they worked with Sashi to make some changes, slight little changes.
Replaying, I don't really recall any changes.
I don't know what is different.
Maybe just some of like, oh, now you're picking up this kind of person.
Sure,
but like,
maybe.
it's effectively the same. It's a game where you are driving a bus and you're picking up various people and dropping them off at various places pretty much. Like, that's the goal. And so there's a couple of little hitches in it, is that you are going to draw a card every round that will dictate the kind of movement you can do, where it's like you have to move straight for 2, or you have to do a zigzag. We go straight, then turn, then straight. And you can choose which direction you do that, but you have to follow that kind of movement pattern.
Yeah.
And that, as you do it, are going to take you through various intersections, which will be you collecting, picking up people or going by...
Picking up university students and dropping them off at college or whatever. Yeah.
Going past like sightseeing places and things like that. And these are all going to be ways that you can kind of cross things off your little boxes and areas of your score sheet. In a roll and write fashion. And the main things you kind of want to do is, if you ever run into your own path, you can't backtrack. If you ever run into your own path, you're out of the game.
Your bus can't literally disintegrate.
You have to keep moving.
Everyone on board dies.
Yeah, at once.
Horrible
it's like
death.
Tron, it's like those
really
light bikes. It creates
painful death.
Yeah, and you have to go to like a narrated section of the back of the book where it tells the story of their family.
Yeah,
and everything.
exactly.
The other thing you want to do is not drive on the same streets after someone else has gone there, because now you're creating traffic, which will lose you points if you do that too much. You're trying to stay in your own area, but you're trying to get to different points on the map. You're trying to get to the right,
and it's quick too, so you're not going to get everything you want to get done.
You're not going to get everything done that you want to, but it's just a really fun kind of light, like roll and write,
flip and fill kind of thing.
Flip and fill kind of game.
Well, the original one, you literally had a central board that was a big dry erase board, and everyone was drawing their bus down.
Your route.
Now you're putting down like little wooden,
like Catan road sticks,
which is honestly better because the board would just get dirty and kind of hard to see after a while. But nonetheless, Get On Board is really fun. I like it
really fun, great art and stuff. Really love it. So happy to have it now.
Yeah, it's fine,
and it's scaled for different player counts. So if you're on a lower player count, you're on the New York map, and if you're on a higher player count, you're on the London map,
which makes it very cool,
nice and tight.
Which is very, very cool. Liked it a lot. Really liked it. Oh, that's right. We got to play Great Western Trail Argentina.
Yo,
it's really fun. I'm not gonna lie. We got to play this not board and dice. Plan B hit us up and said, "Hey, do you want to try the new Great Western Trail Gen Con?"
We like, said yes.
And we're like, sure. They're like, "Hey, do you want to like set off a raffle so people can come play it with you?" And we're like, "Yes, we do." And so we got to play a full, not full game. We had to stop I think a round or two early. It was pretty much at the end.
Yeah.
And if you like Great Western Trail, here's the thing: if you hate Great Western Trail, it's not gonna change your mind. If you like Great Western Trail, I honestly think it's better.
Well, with that said,
it's 90% the same.
80%, how dare you? And so it's a thing of like, if you don't like certain aspects of Great Western Trail, you should still try this one because they change certain things.
Yes.
But it is the same turn structure, the way you're moving through a map and stopping at locations. Many of the actions are exactly the same. You still want a diverse hand of cattle when you eventually reach Buenos Aires now. I think,
Buenos
right?
Aires, yeah.
So all that's the same, but when you're going to ship, you're not now. You do have your train still, but it functions in a different way because now you're actually loading cattle onto ships and they're going to Europe.
Yeah.
But they only ship off at 3 points in the game.
Yes.
And so you kind of have this like,
you essentially have to like buy a ticket on the ship.
yes,
So that when it eventually does ship, your cattle go with that.
and then they
don't go right
over
away.
to Europe. Yeah.
And it's
So
those
it's
things
kind
where
of this like delayed, like
Yeah.
you deliver, but then you can do some more stuff with that disc that you delivered later. So there's all these kind of things to do around the kind of delivery system that is really interesting.
and the train is different. It's one of the things where like this game is honestly like 85% the same as Great Western Trail, but that 50% that's different really changes stuff up. There's really a lot to think
really
about.
cool way.
And one of the cool things is like as your train is going, you're not shipping things by train anymore. So what your train does now is it essentially gives you shortcuts to get to Buenos Aires. So as you're going down your train, all of a sudden there's a shortcut here. So if your train is here, you instead of having to go all the way out to here, you just go boom, and the train can go all the way around to the point where you can get like halfway through the board, and you can start going to Buenos
So you
Aires
can start
like
in theory
halfway
making
through the
very
board.
quick trips.
It's very nuts. And there's also now, instead of having like bandits or anything like that, there are farmers, and the farmers they're a fourth employee that you can have, and the farmers are going to give you grain. And to ship these cows overseas, you also have to put grain on those boats or have grain because you got to feed the crew basically, right? And you got to feed the cows and stuff like that. And then also once you get to those cities to ship out of those cities, you also need grain. So you also have to get these farmers.
Yeah, there's new resource
and it's
there.
just super
There's strength
interesting.
that the cows provide, like certain amounts of strength, which factors into the game. So a cow that might be like a weaker breeding value might be stronger. And so now,
you essentially give them to a farmer.
Yeah.
And then that farmer comes on as an employee, but it's like an ox, right? It's not really great for eating, but it's like, hey, it's going to be able to pull a plow. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So like all of a sudden there's like new ways to like work with your cards and stuff. They do a lot.
It's really
while
different.
keeping, like you said, 84% of the game the same. So if you know Great Western Trail, I can get right into you. Here's what's different and let's play. And you can really get going that quickly. And for a lot of things, the change they make for us, I was like, that is a step up and an improvement from Great Western Trail.
Yeah,
Not that Great Western Trail is lacking, but I'm like, this seems like 2.0, the more final form.
I think I will probably like this one more.
I would agree with that statement. I think
sure.
once we get into and playing this, I don't know how often we'll
And
go
it didn't
back to
just
Great
feel
Western
like, oh, this could have been an expansion. Again, it's
No.
it's very similar, but like the difference is I'm like, okay, this is honestly it feels like a different game, at least to us.
Trail. If anyone's worried, like, oh, is it just a token, different thing? No, I don't think so.
least
They,
I don't
they
think
put
so.
thought into the changes they have. Yeah.
It's
big
cool.
time.
It makes me even more excited for New Zealand.
Yeah, me too.
We got to play King of 12, which is a cool little game by Lucky Duck.
It's a cool little game where you have a D12 that you roll out at the beginning of the round, and then you can manipulate both virtually and then also changing the face of the die you have before you. In most cases, to have the highest value possible in order to like win a round. And what you're doing is simultaneous action selection with these cards. So we'll all have the same cards we're working with in a game. I think it's 6 types or 7 or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
And what we're doing is they're going to do different things. Like one will add 7 to the value of your dice. If I rolled a 7, I add 7. Now I have 14. There's one that might be for this turn, your die is considered to be a 12, unless someone else has a 12, in which case now it's a 1. Different things like that. So you're kind of trying to do that thing where you're like, I think they're going to play this card. So I think I'm going to do this over here to try to like outthink your opponent, outsmart your opponents and stuff like that. It's a really fun, quick, light game that has like multiple versions of cards that you can start to do. So you're not always using the same ones that start to do kind of wilder abilities and stuff. So if you like a quick little like simultaneous selection game, I think this one's like solid.
Really liked it.
Yeah,
I was
fun.
blown away at how fun it actually was. It was just the trying to read your other players and stuff that was really, really interesting. And it's just an absolute blast.
And we played with like what they suggest for a first game one. And
you
I
can
think it was
keep
really
playing
fun.
with that. Like honestly,
I think you could, but I think some of the other cards I was looking at them start to get kind of like wilder with their abilities. So I'm really excited to get to there because after a few games of playing like the base thing, I'm like, okay, I get this. But if you start switching in even just a couple new cards,
it's gonna get
now you're like, well, this is getting kind of wild. So
it was really, really fun. Little game. It's
very quick,
very cool. I liked it a lot. I thought it was very, very cool. We got Land vs. Sea, also by Good Game Publishing.
Land versus Sea is cool. Tile laying, tactical.
2-player mostly game, but basically 1 player is the land, 1 player is the sea. You're placing out these hex tiles, and the hex tiles is kind of like Carcassonne style. You have to make the landscape make sense. The landscape is either going to have land on it or sea. And you're kind of making it make sense. What you're essentially trying to do is essentially close off areas. So if you're the C player, you want to close. You essentially want to make a bunch of lakes. Yeah. You want to make a closed off lake. If you're a land player, you want to make like an island, essentially.
Yep.
And so that's basically all you're doing, especially in the base game. There's essentially like a couple different versions of the game that you can play. They add a little bit more complexity, a little bit more scoring.
Layers of scoring, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Nice. And so, but that's pretty much it. And so the thing is, like, if Mike's the land player, I'm the C player. If he closes off a C, I still get those points. So you're trying to...
Yeah, I don't want to inadvertently help you by playing a tie, you know.
And then that's pretty much it. It's pretty quick, but it's really fun. It's really, really fun. And then there's like some of the scoring stuff. So one of the ones like mountains and corals. So some of the water tiles have corals on them, so you want to make essentially a big row of corals.
Every time you add on to coral, you get to score however many tiles long that.
And then the land has like mountains. There's like one that has like trade routes on it, and so you're trying to make these like trade routes and stuff like that. So you can add more layers of complexity. But it's just super simple. You just grab a tile, you place it down, you're trying to close it off. It's a great little like quick, pretty close to gateway game. You could probably teach it to most new people, just being like, yeah, just try to close it off. That's it. Yeah. And it's really fun.
Then explore it. Cozy Little Brown House says metagame minute. This was a 2-play and done for us. Hey.
Oh, happens, interesting. Okay.
But yeah, we've enjoyed Land vs. Sea, and I'm excited to play it more. And because I feel like you start to get good, you can start to get really strategic with how you play. Yeah. And the first player kind of like, I don't know, maybe this land thing, and you know,
that works. Yeah. You know? Yeah, Land vs. Sea was good though. I liked it.
I liked it a lot.
We just played. Unfortunately, it's just the campaign for this got canceled.
Canceled.
I don't think it was because of us. To be fair,
I hope not.
Power Core was just on Kickstarter. Unfortunately, it's got canceled. I hope they relaunch it because I actually really like this system. Yeah. I think they can make some changes in terms of like the backs of the cards and making them just look generally better.
Graphic design stuff.
Graphic design stuff can help. I know a lot of people are into the Call of Cthulhu thing. But I kind of wish they'd start with a better, a more neutral theme to begin with.
A more universal. Yeah.
Just like, I mean, you can't always go like Marvel, but just like, yeah, it's
I
like...
don't know the business side of it.
And people do love Cthulhu. So it's just like, but nonetheless, it's a 2-player card battling game where you're taking on, in this case, 2 old ones. Ancient ones. I had like a Tutu and some other name that I can't remember how to pronounce.
They're all very difficult.
They're all very difficult to pronounce. But nonetheless, and then so I have those 2, and then those 2 have like avatars, and then they each come with like a deck of cards. So it's kind of like Smash Up, where you take 2 characters and then you smash their decks together, and then you're playing out these cards. And the cool thing is though, is all the cards have these power cores. So when you play a card, you put this little kind of square power core tile, and it has stuff. One side might do damage, one side might give like horror because it's, you know, Cthulhu. One side might give shields and stuff like that. And so at the beginning of your turn, you rotate all your power cores, and then whatever's facing up, you then get to do that thing. So like, okay, this is going to rotate. Now it does 2 damage and gives me a shield. Yeah. And it's kind of a cool way to go about 2-player card battling games, because it's all about like timing and trying to get the right power cores, and you can play cards that like forces other people to like turn their power cores, because once your power core goes to the red side of it, like the red quadrant,
it's like 1 full rotation.
Gone. Yeah, and it's kind of like Ecos in that way, where you can use a card essentially a certain amount of times before it goes away. Yeah. And so you can really mess with it. I actually really liked this system. I don't care about Cthulhu. I don't like hate Cthulhu, but I just don't care about Cthulhu. No. And
never gonna draw us in.
Cthulhu. No, never. It's like I don't care if it's there, but I just don't care at all, really. But I thought the system was really cool. I think it could do with a new graphic design, but like I didn't think it was like that egregious personally. But like,
yeah, I mean, I get the idea of having really the card backs. Like the card backs have to be standardized because you're going to be smashing together factions, and I think ideally more and more types of factions, so you can't give any indication as to what that faction is. But I think the bright blue power, it was a little too Pokemon cheapy. I think it maybe cheapened it in a way that people didn't like. So,
yeah, but you needed to,
especially when you have like really crazy art on the other side.
They ever did like a Marvel set, you could have Cthulhu with Captain America. That could be it's like Smash Up. You can smash.
I think that's how it's meant to be. I don't know that, but like I think so. So hopefully they relaunch.
Yeah. So unfortunately it got canceled. I hope they relaunch because I really liked the system.
Yeah. I thought it worked. But
unfortunately it got canceled like right after our stream.
Time will tell. Rado was asking really quickly about our Great Western Trail Argentina game and who was going to win. We didn't get the full game. We played a 4-player game. Nick and I were going to come in 3rd and 4th.
Yeah, pretty much. We were getting crushed by the couple we were playing with. They were much better than us at that game.
We had fun. We played a little State Cool.
This is a game that was on our shelf of opportunity for a long time. This is a fun little game where essentially you're trying to
multitasking game.
It's a multitasking game where you're on a timer. You're trying not to explode. So basically, like in the base game that we are playing, you have dice that have letters on them, and then one person, in this case it was Mike, is reading out questions that I have to answer with the dice.
So
So
it'd
it'd
be
be
like
like,
the answer. You gotta write the answer.
so like, what's the past tense of run? And you have to write out ran. So I have to find RAN on there. But as you're doing that, the other person there, in this case was Ruel, is asking you a question that you have to answer verbally.
Yeah.
So you're trying to do this and that, and you're on a timer, and you're trying to get through as many things as you possibly can, and it's way more difficult than it sounds. First, I was like, this is gonna be easy, and then it gets to the point where like
Tactic.
you have to like the multitasking gets even crazier. It's very fun. I don't know like how much staying power it has, but to pull it out at like a party,
Oh yeah.
oh my
That's
gosh, it would
exactly
be
what's
fun.
intended for. It's just intended to, as Jason says, it's fun to watch people with
Yes.
brains just go like, the gears go like, they stop and you're
Yeah.
like, and they get going again because you're like, Mount Everest. Okay. You know, and
Exactly.
it is really fun. It's just a really fun
It's
casual
ridiculous.
game.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? It's good brain exercise because
Yeah.
you're like doing like this, you know? You're like,
Yeah.
it's pretty hard.
Yeah, and it's a good game to stream and stuff like that because
Yeah,
it's just very
really,
fun to watch.
we had a lot of
I
fun
was
with that
really happy we've literally had it for like a couple of years and it
Yeah.
just somehow never came off the shelf. We finally got it
We
played,
need 3 or more players to be fair, so
That's
just
true.
don't have that many
and
opportunities.
it was
for that.
very fun. Mike, you talk about this game.
Amazing
Here's
Turing
the
Machine.
I really like Turing Machine. Mike is obsessed with Turing Machine. I'm gonna let Mike talk.
I love it so much. It's so good. It is.
Watch
I know
Mike's
people are
video
saying,
on it. It's
watch
really
my
good.
video on it. All right, you've heard my review already. I think it's the Wordle of board games, and I do mean that as a compliment. People say you
Better
should
than
compare
the
it to
Wordle board game.
I'm like, listen, it's better than the Wordle board game, whatever that board game is, but I want to play that board game.
Probably. Who knows?
Turing Machine is a game where it's a deduction, straight up logic deduction game where you are trying to get a 3-number code. The 3 numbers will be between numbers 1 and 5. So it could be like 431 is the code for today,
Hey,
and you basically have these different verifiers. These different Jared knows
You
what's
played this with Jared, right?
Yeah, he did.
You talked to Jared.
He was good at it because he's a smart person.
Smart
I get these
guy.
verifiers that basically will give you parameters that the code must follow. And you can check and ask questions of this. It makes a punchboard analog computer. So you have something that's going to tell you about the blue number, and you can ask, is it less than 3? Is it equal to 3? Or is it greater than 3? And based on the code you have, if I have a blue 2, for example, I'm asking the question, is the blue true that it's less than 3? And if you get a little check mark, it says, yes, it is. So now I know I can cross off 3, 4, and 5. It cannot be those. The verifier does not allow that to be so. And if you ask the right questions, you can eliminate options to the point where you have one exact 3-number code that it can be. It'll only ever produce one code. Then you can check your answers and stuff. It is so fun to just work that little puzzle.
Truly an astonishing
that it
how did
works.
you
I don't
think
know
of
how you
this?
make this. You
I don't know
know?
how you make it.
Yeah, smarter minds than me. So
Very cool.
if you
though.
enjoy like straight logic,
Yeah.
deduction kind of stuff, you can solo this. You can play it co-op. You can play competitive and try to beat your friends to the answer.
just
And be like,
wanna
I got there quicker.
play it solo.
Yeah, it's fun. Like, I don't mind playing competitive, but the whole thing is like, if Jared inevitably gets it quicker than me, I'm like, don't tell me the answer. I'm still going to work this because I want to have the satisfaction of solving the puzzle,
Yeah.
even if I didn't do it the quickest. I can live with that just fine. I just want to get the answer myself.
Yeah.
I want that. I want that so bad. And it's so fun. They have a daily challenge. Do the daily, I call it the turtle. Do the turtle. It's so fun. I love this
Very
game
fun.
so much.
This is one of those games where if I found it relatively cheap, I'd probably just get my own copy so I can do the daily challenge at my place.
Then they can send each other and be like,
Yeah.
oh, what'd you get in 5
We
questions?
do that with our brother and sister. We literally we do like
Send
the
wordles
world-
back and forth. Yeah.
RTFM, we played this with Shay, RTFM show. So the content of this game is super cool, but I love the physical aspect of the verification cards. The way they slot together feels like magic. It does.
Yeah.
And that's why we were talking to Aldi, who owns Board Game Geek, and he's like, why isn't this just an app?
I'm like,
But I honestly
it would be
think
great
the
as an app.
physical nature
It's so fun.
is so much fun.
Yeah.
It really, really
If it was
is.
an app, I'd play through round after round, and that'd be fantastic. They should make an app of this. But it's so fun because all these cards, as you're making the numbers, have a bunch of like punches and slots in them.
Yeah.
And then when you put together a 3-number code, it will inevitably, the way it overlaps, only produce one square,
It's
one
weird.
exact square for you to now verify. And that's just really satisfying that it does that. Because I'm just like, how do you make it so that it always just makes one square?
Yeah,
like
it's-
you must have said, like, computer, make
Real
me this
thought,
thing, and then computer's
Go
like,
watch
"You got
Mike's
it."
video. He explains it all
Love
very
it.
well in there, and you can see all this stuff happen in real time. It's really,
fun.
really cool. He
Yammered
goes
on
through it.
plenty
It's,
about it.
it's really good.
So good.
Turtle Splash.
Turtle Splash.
This game was great.
Turtle Splash is a kid's game, to be fair. It's
if you couldn't tell,
ages
this is
5 to
a
9.
Vladimir Suki heavy euro.
Yeah, it is. It's crazy, man. The turtles are resources. You can spend them. You can sell turtles. This is a dexterity / memory game for kids. And it's from Lucky Duck's kind of kid line of games, or they're the ones bringing it over here. And so it's really fun because you have this like little ramp, and then you're flicking a turtle. The story is that the turtle is late to this swim party with all of its animal friends. You can see on the cover right there. And so the turtle's like, I'm gonna slide down the river and like find as many of my friends as I can, as quick as I can. So what you're doing is you're flicking this disc down this river and then to this lake at the bottom, and you kind of want to get to the middle of the lake because for the better you flick, you get to flip over tiles that will find your animal friends. And on your little player board, you have to find them in a specific order. So if I find the red panda, but I need to find a Komodo dragon first, I need to remember, okay, the red dragon's over there. It's in the third spot of the third row. Okay, because I need to find the Komodo dragon first. And so there's a bit of memory right there. So it's great for kids. The flicking is just a fun little, motor skills thing. And then it comes down to the memory game. So if you have kids and you want to work on those things, this game will be perfect for that. It is delightful.
It's mega cute.
It's a really cute kids game.
Mega cute. Yeah, it's very fun. Yeah, it's a great little game. What we got next? We played Versus. Is that this month?
Yeah. It's terrible. Do not care.
It's not terrible. This is not our kind of game. This is another 2-player like battling game. You take on, this case, the one we played was the Civil War, so it was like Iron Man versus
it was the pro-registration and the anti-registration.
Yes, and so you have a big deck of cards. Those deck will have a bunch of other heroes in there. You're putting them in. You have like rows of heroes and stuff like that. So you have to hit the front row. You have to have flying. It's a 2-player battling game. For the most part, like we talked about Power Core, I actually really like Power Core, but that's surprising because I do not like 2-player card dueling games. I've never played Magic. I've never wanted to play Magic. Sometimes I can get into them, but Versus is one of those ones where I was just like, I get why people like this game. I get why they keep making more and more content for this game, because people will love it and get super into it and collect all of it and like play and draft and do all this stuff. I don't need to do that personally.
No, that's what I mean. I say terrible. I just mean super not for me. I'm like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. And my whole thing is like, the main thing is like bummers. Like the cards are just like ridiculously cheap.
The quality?
Yeah, they're pretty apart as you play it for the first time. I was like, what's the satisfaction here? Like,
it's not our kind of game.
If I want to play, it's like, I'll play Marvel Legendary, also by Upper Deck. I'm like, I'd rather do that with Marvel characters instead of just like, I'm going to punch you, Captain America. Like,
It's again, it's just not our kind of game. It's not our kind of game, never will be. Kind of knew that going into it, but we got to try it and stuff like that. And again, 2-player dueling games like that are pretty rare that I will like them. That's why I was like, Bum Power Core got knocked out because I actually liked it.
Yeah, that one we enjoyed.
I never got a chance to play Yummy Yummy Monster Tummy, but you played it.
I did. Yummy Yummy Monster Tummy is another kids game from Lucky Duck that uses app integration. And this game is adorable and clever, and there's kind of like a little story you can go through which adds layers of challenge to the game. But the kind of base most version of the game is you have those monsters right there that are going to be different colors. The main kind of big one, the blue one, is the one that you're dealing with in the kind of first challenge. They're going to be a certain color, and they want to eat food. And the main thing is that they like to eat food that is the same color as them.
Yeah.
So you have all these cards of food items, and then not so much food items like boots and shovels and things. They'll eat those. They're fine. They're a monster. They love candy, but they hate vitamins. They don't want to eat anything with like vegetables because they're like, no, vitamins.
It's very cute.
So you have a couple things. Again, it's meant for kids. You're like, I don't want to give them vitamins. That's going to make them mad. They're kind of this like blue-greenish character. And so I don't have a blue-green color, but I might have kind of a pretty sky blue. Yeah. Coming out as like, well, I'm kind of a forest green. And so as you play out cards to feed the monster,
QR codes, right?
Yeah, you're scanning QR codes and it brings it in, it feeds that monster. It will create a color blend that will ultimately change the monster to whatever color based off of the blend of colors that you feed it. And so you're trying to get something that you like, I think this will make about that kind of dark
shade of blue,
and you're color mixing and stuff, and it works really, really well. The app will actually change the monster that color, then they get all excited if you fed them well and stuff like that. And it's a great way to talk about like kind of color theory stuff. And you can't show each other your cards, so you can kind of it teaches you to kind of describe colors. You know, it's like, oh, it's kind of like a rusty red. Oh, I wonder what that looks like. Maybe I'll feed it that. You can give it candy, which is like a wild and stuff. So it's a great way to deal with, and the fact that like all the colors of the items are not just like straight up, like if you think of like classic purple, there can be variations of purple and stuff. So it's actually really fun to kind of think about. Again, for like kids and families, they can add in extra layers where it'll change the monster like black and white and all sorts of different things like that. So you can get the challenges up there if you want to like make it maybe a little more engaging for adults. But
I'm excited for
adorable.
Logan when she gets old enough. People are saying, like, my 4-year-old loves this game.
Yes.
She plays my 6-year-old. She loves it. Yeah, I think this
it's
is
so
a
cool.
great game for
it
kids.
works so well with the app and stuff. Seeing the monster dance around is like perfect for kids. They'll get them excited. It is a great kids game.
Yeah, I was like, all right, cool. Yeah, and what a great name.
And it's fun to play like as an adult because it's cool to see the monster change color and stuff.
We finally got to play Targi the expansion. We
Right.
love Targi.
Right.
We've had the expansion for a while now, and somehow we just haven't gotten it played. I really like the expansion. So Targi is a cool game. We just talked about it in our top 10 worker placement game list.
It's a 2-player only worker placement.
Yeah. Go watch that. We go into more depth, but nonetheless, you essentially are putting out 3 workers on the kind of outside of this group of cards there, and then wherever, like, you draw a line from their workers, and wherever your workers would overcross there, the lines would, you'll also get that card. And so you're essentially gaining goods, getting different tribe cards, which might give you special powers, might give you special end game scoring. And so the Targi the expansion, which, first of all, like, let's go with the name. What a flex with the name the expansion.
It's the expansion.
So the expansion literally adds sand dune cards, which are essentially some other thing you can, like, put your tribe marker on. They'll essentially give you goods, kind of like
pretty powerful,
like one-time boons. But then you're also, that worker's not going on the outside of the cards, so you're gonna have less cards in the middle there. There's also water is now a resource, and water can end up kind of being wild because you can, like, turn it into other stuff. Certain things will require water.
Kind of water is life, you know?
And then there's just all new tribe cards, and so you just have a whole bunch of now new kind of powers and new endgame scoring. I really liked it. And there's also a Targia now. There's a robber going around the side of the Targia going the other way. And if you go to the same spot as the Targia, you essentially can exchange some stuff for water. You can get some goods. Essentially kind of gives you a little bit of a bonus. And I was just like, great. It was awesome. It was outstanding. I'm like, I probably just would always play with the expansion.
100%.
Like,
just infuses Target with a little more, like, energy and life, you know, where, like, maybe we'd be getting pretty over it, and now it's just
makes it slightly less brutal because you have those, like, sand dune cards. You can go to the Targia to get some extra stuff, so it's like it's a little bit less tight, which is kind of nice. Yeah, I liked it a lot. I thought it was good.
I fully agree with that. Everything you said, it's awesome.
Yeah,
I wouldn't go back. I mean, with that said, I will play on BG. I'll play regular Target, but. Last thing of the kind of new is that we played Great Western Trail 2nd Edition with the expansion rails to the north.
We played this before, although it did change a couple things apparently.
A couple little things. So this is just the expansion now redone for the 2nd edition of Great Western Trail, which we picked up at Gen Con. Still great, still awesome.
Still, I would only ever want to play with this.
The expansion is really fun. It's really fun to explore the different, based off of where you've delivered, you can then start to go this way or that up into the rails, which is really adds a lot to Great Western Trail.
Yeah, it takes the part of Great Western Trail that I like. I really like Great Western Trail just in general. But the thing I liked the least was the train, because it just felt boring. The only reason to move the train, I mean, you have the stations you can go into to get points. But to me, it's just like, I just don't want to have to, like, lose money when I deliver cows. So to me, the train part was always the most boring part of Great Western Trail. But now with the rails of the north, now there's, like, a purpose of moving your train, because it gives you access to more of these places in the north. And I'm like, okay, cool. Now this is a reason for me to move my train, other than just not wanting to lose money and get points on those stations. So to me, it's like, it took my least favorite part of the game, made it way more interesting. I'm like, great, cool. I'll just never, ever not play with it. Like,
yeah, I agree. It's super cool. And then with the 2nd edition, the one thing it gives you is it gives you these Brahmin cows.
New cows,
which are other additional orange cows. So in the 2nd edition, they gave you these Cemental, I'm sure I'm not saying that right, cattle that are orange. And so now, if you have the expansion, whether or not you're playing with the expansion, you can choose which version of the orange cards. They don't recommend you do both, because it would just change the dilution of the deck.
BG, someone did like half and half.
Oh, that's kind of
cool. And apparently
it
worked really well.
Half and half seems cool.
Yeah.
Actually, that would work pretty well.
Yeah.
But it's kind of cool. So they have another option with those orange cattle if you want to use them, which was awesome. We tried that out, and they were really cool.
I really like them. Yeah. It's good. Yeah. It's great. Again, it was good before. Fantastic. It's great now.
As you can see, beautiful.
Dumb pretty.
Yeah. Yeah,
really cool. It's I really like it a lot.
So that's kind of all the new stuff we played. Getting into some old stuff. We played some Crokinole. You know, we now have a Crokinole board. The last time we played as part of our Dexterity Decathlon, we figured how do we spice this up? And I'm not going to lie to you, we had the idea of, like, the Crokinole board's on a Lazy Susan. The Lazy Susan rotates. You put all your discs out and you got to flip them. Do we have a Lazy Susan, mechanical Lazy Susan arriving today? Yes, we do. Are we going to test the theory tonight or today in the afternoon? Probably we will. Probably. So stay tuned for Lazy Susan Crokinole.
There will be there'll probably be Lazy Susan Crokinole video coming out. It's one of the greatest games ever made.
It's so far. Crokinole is amazing.
We got to play a little bit more Scout.
I'm playing a lot of Scout this month.
Really? Yeah. Scout's
so fun.
great. I love Scout. It's kind of a ladder climbing game where you are, if Mike puts down a 1, I have to put down a 2, or something higher. A pair beats a single. So if Mike puts down a 10, but I put down 2 1s, that beats that. You can also put down straights, but pairs beat straights. And you constantly have to put down higher stuff. But you can scout, and when you scout, you'll give the person who put down the cards and take one of their cards.
Play it at 4-player.
4-player?
4 players specifically.
4 players is the best.
The sweetest spot.
It is the best. It is the best.
3 or 4, really.
3 is a little too easy to get
3
it back around
going
to
to end a little early. 4 is really good. 5's too long. But Scout is so good.
Yes, it's
so good. Great at 4.
Yes, I mean outstanding
Fantastic.
at 4. Yeah, it's really, really fun. Really love Scout. We've been talking about it. It's a little box. It's great. I do wish it came with the plastic cards from the original Scout.
Those cards are going to get gross.
That's because those cards are going to get gross.
But for $20, you can just buy it again.
I guess, yeah. But it's just like
cards would be
I
sweet.
do wish they came with the plastic card version because that would be
maybe they'll do like a quote deluxe version soon. I mean, the original is plastic cards, and those would be better. Those plastic cards last forever.
I got to play Dead Reckoning, so
I played it first. This is your first play of it.
Yeah, I really liked it. I was supposed to play it with Paula and John DeClaire, and then I actually ended up getting sick, not able to play it.
We didn't bring a doctor's note, so didn't get paid time off for that.
We finally got to play Dead Reckoning. I really, really liked it. This is a big John DeClaire card crafting game, but you're card crafting pirates. So you have your crew and you're crafting. You're giving them special abilities, and you're exploring around. You're sailing your ship out, flipping over these island tiles will have islands with like open water on them. You're trying to have like more of your presence on these islands than anyone else. You're scoring points. You can start battles with each other. You can start battles with like the merchant ships. It's got a really cool like cube ship battle system where there's no dice. You just drop everyone's cubes into this battleship, and where they land is what they do. So they might do damage. They might let you plunder stuff. All sorts of weird piratey things, and it's really, really, really fun. It's one of those games where it's a very big game. It's a pretty long game, where even with 2 players, it's going to be 2 hours at least, probably.
Yeah. I say this, and I didn't mean it as a negative, but the game meanders. So it's sort of just like you're kind of going around doing stuff.
This is a game where it's like,
this is an afternoon game. Like, you're going to play for a good long while.
If we were playing a 3-player game of this, and we were like, yeah, we're just going to let it take like 3 hours, something like that, this is perfect for that. When we were trying to play on streaming, it's tough because we're trying to fit in a 2-hour
window time.
But I really like. We have the 2 Saga expansions. I'm really curious to play this game. More. I really liked it. I thought it was outstanding, and I'm really excited to explore more of it.
Agreed. Yeah, it's really fun, and the art's like rad and stuff.
Yeah,
and the production. We have the deluxe one, but like the production is insane.
Absolute bananas. Yeah,
it's just bonkers.
Yeah,
we played Gingoblin with the experts this time.
Yes.
We haven't played Gingoblin in a minute, so we played.
I played it more recently than you. Yeah,
you had
a couple more times.
Gingoblin is
it's good.
We're doing our top 100 games of all time at the end of the year. I'm very curious where this is going to go.
If you had to guess, like, where do you
top 20 maybe?
Really, that high, huh? I wouldn't be surprised if this creeped into your top 10. Even.
I can't see this being lower, and maybe this won't always be this way, but every time I play this or think about it, I'm just like, it's just so amazing how it does so much with so little, and I just go like, and I'm like, well, that enthusiasm, it could be top 10. Like, I don't know, it's going to be way up there.
Yeah,
it's going to be way up there. It's such a cool game that has so few pieces to it in its way. Everything that you do will produce and or cost tiles, points, or resources. That's it. So there's 3 colors that will pertain to tiles, points, or resources. And you can, in that game, you're doing card drafting, you're doing area control, you're doing city building, tile laying, engine building,
resource management.
Like, all of those things all get folded into something that is like so seemingly simple. It's combo-tastic. I mean, like, I'm just like blown away. I'm like, how did you do that?
That's why I wouldn't be surprised if it ended up higher even than your 20 because
I think it may.
I really like this game, but Mike, you love this.
There has not been a game in the last few years that I have had this giddiness about. It's not even like a new game.
It's Hodge's favorite game.
Yeah, I understand why.
Yeah,
I understand why. I'm like, this game, it might be the most impressive game I've ever played.
Yeah,
because of like what it does with the pieces it does. I'm like, That's a masterclass in like design with simplicity in terms of like, don't have 1,000 different types of resources. Like, no, 3. That's it. Points, tiles, resources.
Yeah.
You get tiles and stuff. You can play more tiles. They'll give you points, tiles, or resources. It's crazy. It's amazing what it does.
He really likes it. I love it.
I can't
play it hammer time. We played this in our Decathlon. This is a great little dexterity game where you're I guess dwarves or whatever.
It's silly.
It's silly. You basically, the box on the bottom has kind of like a felt
neoprene
kind of little thing on it, and then you put all these gems on there, and then essentially you have a mine cart which has different colored gems on it. And essentially, what you have to do on your turn, you have to tap the box to try to get the gems to fall off, and you're trying to collect the right gems. It's a very simple kind of kids game, but you're rolling out this die, and this die will essentially
make your life harder in some
make your life harder. You might have to like punch the box instead of hitting it with a hammer. You might have to hit with the back end of the hammer instead of the front. So it's one of those things where there's lots of silly little things. It's very, very silly, but like for kids, they would like a lot of Hobbit games, like Hobbit's Hobbit, right? That's what they do. And this game it's really fun. It's really, I just love the idea that like fun. Just hit the box with a hammer. Yeah, that's the game. You're like, that's adorable. That's hilarious. It's great. It's very fun. It's silly. It's silly. What do we got here? Speaking of Board Game Geek, who's in the chat, and Lucky Duck Games, we want to play It's a Wonderful World.
Shay wanted to try this. Never tried it.
Shay did want to try it.
Great card drafting game.
And then we got to play the expansion. I guess we played with a lot of new expansions. What did you think of the expansion? The expansion is very minimal, and I think just always play with it, basically. Yeah, it's the Ascension and Corruption, I think is right? Yeah. Where it gives you these different types of cards that you can draft as well. And it's kind of like great in that, like, you can either draft those cards or not. Yeah. Like, if you don't want to interact with what that expansion provides, that's totally fine. You'll be fine. Or you can. It's just more options for you. Yeah. So this is a game where you're drafting out cards that are going to give you basically construction projects that you can get that are going to require a certain amount of resources, but they also provide a resource if you trash it. You're like, I'm going to trash it for like 1 blue resource. Yeah, recycle it. And so the game comes down to like trying to decide how many projects do I want to try to complete. How do I be as efficient as I can? And as you complete projects, they might provide you a bonus resource or token or something like that. And then once they kind of become part of your empire, they may produce resources every round. And so you kind of build up this engine in a quick fashion because it's 4 quick rounds, and you will, by that last round, be producing quite a bit of stuff. Yeah. And each of those cards may be worth points. They might be worth points for every blue card you have. Or blue construction card, you'll get points. So there's a lot of ways you can kind of combo and hyper focus in the game. But it does a lot of stuff in a very short period of time, which is cool. Yeah, and it plays great. A lot of players. It does play. This plays with the expansion anyway. It's super, super good. It's a simple kind of like drafting engine building type game, but it just works. Engine thing. It's a Wonderful Kingdom, which is the 2-player only version, is also very, very fun. Slightly different because the drafting is different. Basis the for same kind of concept. It's one of those things where like every time I play this game, I'm like, God, this game is so freaking good. There's not any, I don't think, any other game that I am worse at that I enjoy more. Yes. You won this last one, didn't you? I think I did, but that was literally a career game I played, and it probably was not that impressive of a score. I played the best I've ever played against Shay, who had never played before, and against you that I somehow got lucky because I get stomped by you regularly in this. But I don't care if I don't lose because I just enjoy making the engine so much. And I'm like, that's really a mark of a great game. Like, I probably won't win very much in my life, but I will keep playing it because it's super fun. Willem, thank you for that wonderful comment. I'm glad you're catching us live. And again, and Sean, we'll answer. We're going to do a Q&A after we get through all the games, but we'll come back to that question. Stay tuned. Thank you for being here live, everybody. We appreciate y'all. We got to play Kites. We got to play this with Amy and Maggie from Thinker Themer, who are probably the greatest people who've ever lived. Sorry, Mom. You know. Sorry, daughter mine over there. My spawn. Whatever. Kites is dumb good. It's so much fun. This is a great game where it's like you essentially have a hand of kites, and the kites will be like purple kite or a red kite or an orange kite, and then you have all the different colors that are in the game. They also have sand timers. Keep the kites in the air. You're trying to keep the kites in the air. So basically, every time you play, like say a red kite card, you flip over the red timer. So naturally, you want to kind of let the red timer get down and then flip so you have the most time. But here's the thing: one, there's a lot of different timers. There's like 7 of them. 6 or 7. And then on top of that, they don't all have the same amount of sand in them. The red only has like empty quicker. The red has like 20 seconds in it. The purple one has like a minute and like 15 seconds in it. So and granted, there's more red cards, so you get to flip it more often. But this is a cooperative game, and it's simple. On your turn, you play a card, and then you flip over the timer or timers that are on that card, and then it goes to the next person. They play a card, and you just keep going around and around and around. You win the game by getting through all the cards without any of the timers running out. and you can openly communicate. So like, blue's running out. So like, I have a blue. Go. Okay, it comes a blue.
Just screaming
and
at each other.
You're literally just screaming at each other. But it's so much fun. And then I watched Watch It play this, and there's like other like essentially modules that make it harder, and
there's
they
like
seem insane. But they do seem like very fun.
There's one where you can't talk for a round. There's one where you have to like pass a card to the left and to the right.
All the things flip. I believe there's one. It's nuts.
All the time it's a storm. You're like,
best number of player for kites. Honestly, I think it scales well
because even at 2 you're gonna be shouting back and forth. But I'd say like 3 or 4. You want to get a good group, but like honestly, whatever. It's so quick. Like any player can be good. But we played it. It was Amy, Nick, and I, and we played 3-player, and like that was perfect.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't think this one will change much between player counts. Yeah, it'll just be more loud.
Yeah, it's really
it's so fun. It's such a simple thing. The art, not that you have time to look at it, but you ever saw this beautiful Beth Sobel art and stuff like that? That's really cool. And like the whole thing, like if you have like an orange and green, the kite will be orange and green, like the art shape. Like it's cool. It's really cool. It's really cool, and it's really fun and silly. Takes 5 minutes to play, and like it's perfect filler game. It's just a good time, palate cleanser, great time.
Yeah, it's a good time.
Oh, I don't know.
This game is so good.
The game that we firmly believe if they had 2,000 copies at Gen Con, they would have sold.
This would have been, everyone's like, what was the game of the con? And it's like, there was so many shipping problems that I don't really know what the game of the con was. Probably Scout. Planet Unknown would have been the game of the con if they only had like 100 copies.
Sold out within the first.
If they were able to bring 2,000 copies, they would have sold every single copy, and it would have been the game of the con. Planet Unknown is so
fun,
freaking good. Shout out to Linnea's in chat. We got to play her copy. My God.
Yeah.
It was Planet Unknown is this great game. It's a simultaneous tile drafting game. There's a Lazy Susan in the middle. And basically Lazy Susan has tiles on it, and then if you're the active player, you choose where to put the Lazy Susan, and then everyone grabs the tile that's pointing towards them, and then you put it onto your planet, and you're doing a whole bunch of different stuff. You're trying to cover some stuff up. And then you're essentially bumping up a whole bunch of tracks. You know how much we love bumping tracks.
That's all I want to do.
And those tracks might allow you to bump other tracks. So like, oh, you can bump this one, you can bump this one.
Combo.
And then the tracks do different things. The water track gives you a lot of points. The civilization track starts giving you special powers. The technology track unlocks stuff that gives you special powers. You have these rovers that'll go around collecting these life pods, which gives you points. It's so fun. And on top of that, we've only ever played like the base game, but you have like your corporation, which has your technology and your special powers, but there's a whole bunch of asymmetric corporations which are all different, and they're pretty darn different. And on top of that, there's a basic planet, but then there's like 12 unique planets, which are all absolutely bananas in the way they work. Yeah. It is this is such a good game.
It's so fun.
It pisses me off.
It plays up to 6 player, everything, with the exception of if multiple people need to look at civilization cards, everything is simultaneous.
Yes.
So you're always engaged with the game. There's very minimal downtime, so it keeps on moving. It's really fun. It's just satisfying because you're always going to place a thing, bump some tracks, place a thing and bump some tracks, and place a thing and bump some tracks. And like, it just satisfies in many ways. This is going to be a game that I think people will get into and discover for quite some time.
Yeah. It's
then all the asymmetry you could layer in, you can solo it.
Yeah. It's got a good solo too. Yeah.
It's got a good solo. Yeah.
It's really good.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Yeah.
It's annoying how good it is. We played Strike, Mike.
Dude, we played Strike.
Maybe the greatest game ever made?
It's so...
Is it the greatest game ever made?
Yeah.
Probably.
It is, because for any time you can think you're this highfalutin board gamer, it's like play some Strike and just become a kid again.
Yes.
Just like literally throw some dice into a little gladiator arena that is honestly such a good little product because it uses the box. You play in the box. The box has this little kind of molded gladiator arena with like a little springboard at the bottom, and you're throwing dice in there trying to make sure you hit so that you have 2 6s or something, a pair or more, to be able to pick up those dice, and you just want to be the last person holding dice.
Yeah.
And so it's simple. It's just so good. Ridiculous. There's minimal to no skill involved, and it doesn't matter.
No, talk to Ambi. Ambi plays this game with skill, and she is honestly very good at it.
She doesn't count. She's better than us. There's 0 skill.
She's so much smarter than us.
There's a decision point where you can say, like, I'm not going to keep throwing dice in because I keep failing, so I'm going to stop. And that's your decision point, that's where you can do, or you're pushing your luck otherwise.
Always push it.
And it's just so fun.
Yeah, it's just so much fun.
Stinking fun.
It's one of the greatest games I've made. I don't care what you say.
It's such a good time.
We played Zolkin. We haven't played Zolkin in a while. This game, it was one thing when we played this game, I was like, oh, that's right. This is one of the most unique games.
It might be the most unique game of all time.
In terms of just the way, so this Tolkien, you have all these gears, and you're putting these working with your gears, and every turn the main gear turns, and it turns all the other gears. And so essentially,
it's all your little workers on little carousels.
Yeah, they're on carousels, and you can choose on your turn, you can either put workers out or you can take workers off. And that's pretty much it. It's actually relatively simple in terms of the rules.
Thank goodness, because it's so hard.
It's so impossible to score points. Yeah. And so you're trying to essentially keep your workers on these little carousels long enough because the actions get more and more powerful. Finally happened. Man, you hate to see it. Hold on, we gotta ban some people.
Anyway, as Nick said, it's all about timing in this game. It's all about, and the resources are tight in the game. The resources are tight, at least the way we play, because we're not good at board games, right? So it's all about getting your workers onto the gears and deciding when do you pull them off. Do you do a blend of like, I'm going to put 2 workers on and hold one back so the next turn, because you have to put at least 1 worker onto a gear, or you have to take at least 1 worker off, and you cannot do both in the same turn. And so there's just a lot of interesting decision points to try to collect a meager amount of resources to be able to do your buildings, which will maybe score you points and stuff, but points are like hard to come by. You do get a decent amount in the end. Like you can work it out based on kind of how you work up your temples and stuff. It's just so cool. I mean, the gear system is just like ridiculously interesting.
Yeah, it's like Terracotta Army has like an action, the wheels turn, but it's not they don't work similar at all. But I'm just like, man, it's just
the whole like timing puzzle is just
it's
fascinating.
Insane. We got we played a little Valley of the Vikings, another hobby game. This is also a great game to play with kids, where essentially you are Vikings and you're bowling essentially,
like you do,
and you're literally smacking this ball, trying to knock over these barrels that have different colors on them. Whatever ones you knock over, those color Vikings are going to move down the dock, and basically what you're trying to do is throw someone off the end of the dock into the water, which is very fun. And once you throw someone off the dock, everyone else who's still on the dock, whatever is above them, it could be like coins, it could
steal something from an opponent.
It could be mostly getting coin based. And then you essentially get whatever's above you. And then your turn, you can actually go boop, and then you smack the ball and you hit other things. But it's like strategic in the way like you like, okay, I'm not, because the Vikings hopscotch over each other. So you're kind of like, okay, I'm going to make sure, I'm going to try and give this some English and hit this one, but leave this one here. So I stay on the dock, but I throw Mike off of it. And it's just really silly and fun. And it's got great production value because it's Hava. Yeah. And it's honestly such a fun game.
Well, it's also got the cool aspect of it being like a veiled analogy for the rise and fall and continued rise and fall of cryptocurrency.
Yes, exactly.
Because you don't know where you're going to be. And right when you think you're about to score and go huge, you go off the dock, which is a metaphor, and you're in the drink and you get no money.
This
and other people are stealing money. And the plank that you're walking is a blockchain. Boom. That's how it works.
That's the whole
thing. I now understand crypto, and I think I'm going to get into it. Is it too late?
I'm thinking we're getting into it right now.
Can I get into some crypto?
I'm buying some Dogecoin, you know. Valley Vikings is outstanding, though. Great kids game.
It's so fun. Wonderlands
War. We played Wonderlands War. We got to play with Shea Bay. And it's great. I had a very bad game in terms of like, I just had very bad luck.
It is ultimately a very lucky game.
Yes.
You're pulling stuff out of the bag and you can only do so much with that.
The only knock with Wonderlands War is it can go on a bit longer, but we always make this argument. It's like, just make a choice. Because here's the thing. Don't just pulling crap out of a bag.
Don't worry too much.
There's not going to be any strategy at that point. So just make a choice. If people are making a choice and it's quick, like our 3-player game, I think it was like an hour and 15 minutes. It was really quick, really snappy. I'm like, that is how it should be. Wonderlands War is so much fun. It's such, and the production value is like so, just incredible. But it's like the game is just a blast. They just announced like a mini expansion.
I know, I'm excited.
And I'm like, ooh,
it's like maybe like hybridizing characters,
something like that. I don't know, but they do say it'll fit in the box too, which is very nice. But nonetheless, Wonderlands War is really, really fun.
It's really
I like
fun.
it a lot. Yeah. I really enjoy it.
I think the main thing I would always specify is just like, to your point, like don't think too hard or too long on stuff, because you can have all the plans in the world and you're still just going to pull crap out of a bag. And you have no control over what comes out of that bag, and it will not go the way you expect. So don't worry too much about it. Just like in Quacks, you're like, oh, I'll buy a bird skull. Cool. Move on to the next round. Pull it. You know, it's like, treat it like that. There's a lot more stuff, but there's not a lot more stuff. You know what I mean? So don't be too precious about it. Ooh. If this game ever goes over 2 hours, you've made a mistake.
Yeah, it's fun. It can go a little long, but I think it's so fun. Such a fun game. Such an interesting game.
I'm
awesome. Really excited to try.
Bananas.
We've only ever played like the base allies. They have 4 different powers, each of those chips. So I'm really curious to try the other ones because I think you can play the base forever, but like this is gonna be really fun. Super excited to explore it more, basically.
Did Wonderlands War have any glaring typos? I didn't see any. There's just not a lot of words either. That was it. That's our list.
Oh, wait, hey, there you go.
First time we get to a question. I didn't notice anything.
Not that I knew.
But I also can barely read, so I don't know.
That is true. I can't read.
That's why I do videos. I only talk. No need to read.
Okay, so now if you have any Q&A questions, let's do a little Q&A at the end of our rapid review. So if you have any questions, pop in the chat. We kind of go back and see if I can find it.
Yes, you said that. I did.
Brandon Jabs said, played Arc Nova again last night. 2-player really sinks. I like a 2-player too. It's quicker. My thing is like there's not much more gained other than seeing more cards at higher player counts, and 2-player is quicker.
Yeah. And if I ever play at 4-player, I'm going to set the coffee marker to the 3-player spot on the break track anyway to keep the game moved there.
Yeah. Indeed. Let's see if there's anything else. We didn't get too many questions, but we got a careful.
Sorry to get off subject. Go up a little. Sorry to get off subject, but can you please tell your buds at Restoration Games to remake X-Men Alert? You got it.
We'll let them know next time we talk to them for sure. We don't have much sway.
None whatsoever.
They didn't pick up our match set, so that shows you.
Their loss.
Let me see. Do you get any questions really? I know we got like 1 or 2.
People are talking about the games they've enjoyed this month though and stuff, and based off of what we was talking about. So hex yeah.
Grant said Dead Reckoning is great, but the ending always comes a little unexpectedly. Reminds me of Scythe. Yeah, it doesn't have like a big climax. I will say that.
You'll just kind of be like, and this is gonna be the last round. Like, oh, so they're just know that, I guess, because that is something I don't always love in Scythe. That like, oh, the game's over immediately. Dang, that sucks. Yeah. So that there is that, but at least in Dead Reckoning, it's not so much of like an efficiency puzzle where they're like, just get to the end of the game. Like, I'm just gonna enjoy being a pirate, and you know.
Yeah. Sean asked, have you guys played the 2-player asymmetrical game Pagan: The Fate of Roanoke? No, we haven't. Have you heard of that?
No.
Sean, if you're still here, give us a little elevator pitch. What is it? I'm curious, but I like 2-player asymmetry. Roanoke's cool.
I know, yeah. That sounds like right up the DXM wheelhouse, man.
Has anyone ever managed to get a kite to fly and not dive on the ground? Yeah, we flew kites as kids. I didn't remember it being that hard.
I don't remember it. I remember it maybe going well, but maybe I'm just making that part up. Maybe I'm making that part up.
Get wrecked. Sean, we are also getting Flame Calf soon. I'm very excited for it.
Yes, it's coming on Tuesday, I think.
I think so. Billiken asks, is this one of your favorite T games, Zolkin? It's probably up there. I mean, it's not my top 3. No, it's probably not my top 5. There's a lot of T games now, and I like a lot of them a lot.
Yeah, I'd put Teotihuacan above it. I'd put Twat and Suyu above it.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I just figured you would like Zolkin more than Twat and Suyu.
And then probably Zolkin, then like Takenu and stuff. But they're all up there, man.
As of right now,
they're all very good games.
Twat and Suyu, Terracotta Army, honestly.
Oh, Terracotta, yeah. See,
and then 3 is tough between like Zolkin, Teotihuacan.
It's right up there.
I want to try Tabanusi some more because I really liked him.
Yeah, I played that once. Yeah, I know there's so much to explore.
What is Endless Winter coming? We don't have Endless Winter.
Yeah, so I never. Maybe someday we'll probably get it.
Yeah. It said I tried the Arno variant for Arc Nova today after watching X playthrough. It really works. It's way better than the official solo. It is. The official solo is just the game. It's not any different. Like, it's not really like a solo mode. It's just, you just play the game not against anybody. But
Billy Kid says, finally got Honey Buzz to the table after watching your game house. It was delightful.
Isn't it great?
I love that. And you are right. It is. It's such a good one. We are in the stage of our life where weeknight games are getting played on the weekend too. Yeah. Have you tried? The game is short. I am very excited about that game.
Board Play said, did you get Ultimate Railroads yet? No. We are going to be playing Russian Railroads this weekend with our good friend.
Ask me again on Monday, because I probably will have ordered it.
Probably put money that Mike will have ordered it on Saturday after we play it. That's my guess.
So excited.
Honestly, I'm down. I love it. It's great. Will you be doing an Essen wish list video? We'll probably do top 10 games we're looking forward to at Essen. We're also planning on doing, if you watched our player pass video that we did for the top 1,000 games of Board Game Geek. We're planning on doing those videos for like Gen Con and S, and kind of just going through it and just very quickly player pass.
Yeah, just kind of like doing a preview, and we're still trying to work out the kinks of like of how to go about it, because I don't want to like dog some game right before it like gets released or something. Right. So it's like we're trying to figure out like the kind of way we want to go about like how much research do we do, but it's serving as a preview of us kind of, this is our first look at like sort of the offerings and what do we think briefly. So we'll probably do that live here on YouTube, and then we will do an anticipated list for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Have you guys tried Return to Our Tower? We have.
Yes.
We love it. We wanted to do a game house of it. We want to have a third person.
Third player, yeah.
We just haven't gotten around to it. But yes, we have tried it.
We have no friends.
And it's really fun. I really want to try it again. It said, fly a kite on the beach. It's kite on easy mode. Exactly. Fly it on the beach.
Just sit there and be like, this is great. There's so much wind right here.
Don said, have you all played Age of Atlantis? It feels very Scythe inspired, but a tighter game. I like it. I would be down for a Scythe inspired tighter game. That sounds good.
Yeah.
That sounds good. I've not tried it. No.
Maybe Medley, how are the puppies? The puppies are fantastic. They are as wonderful and adorable as always.
They are very good. They're very good. They're very good with the baby, which is good. Are you guys kickstarting anything right now that you think we should check out? Nothing. We haven't backed anything recently.
I don't think there's anything that's currently
running. We just played this week. We played Kinfire Chronicles.
We did.
I don't think we're gonna back it because I just don't think we'll be able to play the campaign. But that was a very fun kind of intro to campaign.
That will really hold your hand and like gives you a base amount of information, and then you play the first quest, and then you get more information. So the game kind of like reveals itself. So if you ever like are like, I want to play this big campaign game, but I don't know like where to begin and stuff, like that one will take you through. It's designed to learn as you play, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Recent things that there's nothing that's currently active that we've backed.
I think
we backed recently, like
what was the last
like
thing we backed?
Motor City
a while ago now too.
Yeah, there's nothing super recently back.
We also don't back very much stuff on Kickstarter. To be fair, we cover stuff on Kickstarter. We don't back it very often. So Pagans 1v1 witch against witch hunter semi-deduction, putting pressure on witch trying to high perform the ritual card-driven actions. Beautiful game. Interesting.
Very cool.
So Sean says, say the word, I'll bring Peg by for teach. Are you going to Strategicon? Because if you are, bring it and maybe we'll be able to play it. Yeah. Also, if anyone else is going to Strategicon, say hi, please.
Well, Straight Answer is asking. We are there on Saturday. So
yeah, we will be there on Saturday.
Board Game Breeze working on a major cull of the collection. Never done this before, and I have a lot of games from when I first joined the hobby that I never play anymore. But it also reminded me of a lot of games I have and love that I haven't played in ages. That's why, if nothing else, why it's good to do culls of your games, because you will have to stop and reassess everything that you own, and a big piece of that will be you remembering how much you enjoy some of the games you have that maybe haven't gotten some love in a while. So it's I firmly stand behind the practice of culling games, because it'll make you appreciate what you have as much as, clearing out the stuff that you don't love so much anymore.
Yeah, it's honestly, once you start, I think it's a very good feeling. Gino made a good point. It said, they probably won't kickstart. We won't, because we already have. But Legacy of You is one to kickstart.
That's absolutely fair. Yeah, if we didn't have that, I would absolutely consider backing it, especially because Garfield is super great about their Kickstarter things are basically pre-orders. That's it. They don't mess with like a ton of stretch goals and different things. Like, it's just like, here's this game. It's ready to go. Bye. Like what you saw right there, that game is done. It is done. Like, there's nothing in there prototypey at all.
Aging change, it'll be ready very slight stuff, but it's like our copy of like Wayfarers. There's certain things where like, hey, the insert doesn't fit up quite as well. We're gonna change that. But like other than that, the game is done. Garfield games, it's like it's a pre-order thing, but that's why there's no stretch goals. So you're like, look, you can pre-order it here, you can get it at retail. We don't really care. Just buy our game. And we're like, great.
And like Shem's always really cool. He's just like, I just if my games seem interesting to you, I just want you to interact with them. Buy it now, buy it later, buy it from your store, whatever you want to do. This is just an option to buy. And no hard feelings if you go somewhere else.
Board Play asks, what games are you hoping to get played soon on or off stream? I've been really want to play Boon Lake.
Yeah.
I've been really want to play Boon Lake. What else we got?
I want to play Ark Nova again. It's been a little bit of a minute.
It's been a couple months.
I'm excited for Russian Railroads.
Yukon Airways again.
Respect.
If we have the player count, maybe we should bring it to Strategicon. I would love to play Banner Festival. Again, we got to figure out what we're bringing to Strategicon is one of the things.
Yeah, we should. That's a great idea. Yeah, I'm trying to think of like stuff.
I'll play Glenmore again.
Yeah, try another module.
Yeah.
Games that aren't out yet that I'm really looking forward to, like Puerto Rico 1897. I'm very excited for. That's on top of my anticipation list at the moment. Tillatum as well, board and dice.
Stuff from Essen probably. We don't really know.
We don't really know what.
Honestly, I haven't looked at the spiel list yet because I
haven't done that list yet. We're gonna wait. Probably we'll do that Essen preview player pass in like a week and a half or so. I want to get closer to let more people, publishers, populate that list. But then we'll do our player pass. So like that's gonna be curious because like that'll dictate a lot of stuff. I'm excited.
It will. Short answer to the question: what's the best way to approach your Strategicon? Screaming backwards in Latin is a good way.
Just come say hi.
Come say hi, and I will say if you
can do a cartwheel,
in front, then we're like, oh, that's short dancer right there. I will say this, just in general, if you're ever saying hi to like a content creator you like, and your name online is not your actual name, like I don't know if your name is Shorty Dancer.
Shorty Dancer, because we will not know.
If you have an online handle that's not your name, let us know what your online handle is so that we know who you are. Because we know you, Shorty Dancer. You're in our comments, you're in our live streams a lot. But if you say like, hey, I'm this person, but we don't know your actual name, that's why I say it's like just let people know your Twitch name or your YouTube name, because we don't know your real names usually. But just say hi. Yeah, just come and say hi whenever you want. In general,
I think most content creators fall in that category. Like, just come say hey, be cool, be chill, be normal. Like, because we're just normal nerds too, and like we don't need none of us need any fanfare. A little bit.
Yes, indeed.
Would be nice.
Have you guys played Flamecraft yet? No, but it is coming. It's on its way. We will play it soon.
It's arriving on Tuesday.
We tried Merchant of the Dark Road, got a few weeks ago, and the struggle to balance money and prestige is real. I particularly like the dice placement and small edge of building. I feel like we missed something.
I think we need to try it one more time.
We've tried it twice.
I think we need to try it one more time.
I don't know. Neither one of us really liked it.
It was not our favorite game. It was not our favorite game.
I feel like we're missing something because everyone seems to really like this game.
I think what it is we just need to embrace the like adventure part of the game where it's like I'm going on a thing and it's like even if I don't have an optimal thing to provide for that, it's still going on the adventure to hopefully gain a boon. I think that's something that like we missed out on in the first play fully and did a little bit of in the next play because the world is so cool and stuff. And like it is an interesting balance of like you got to have your prestige and your money and only your lower score counts. So balancing that out and like trying to make sure that, like I like all those elements. So I do want to try like one more time, like a nice 3-player game and just really maybe play a game where it's just like, I'm going to join the caravan with people no matter what and just see how that changes stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I just didn't get it. Yeah. Maybe it's just not the game for us.
I don't think it's going to be ever our favorite top 10 game, but I think maybe there's just a piece of that we're missing. It is right there though.
Boop. It is right there. What was there? I feel like there's another question that I'm just missing now. Maybe not.
Linnea says, that's why I changed my handle so it's my first name. It's so much easier.
That makes sense. I was not
plus, you know, in other areas you have a cabal with you. It's just like super cool. You know.
Have you guys played Monsters on board? Did you guys back Endless Winter? No and no.
No and no. But our friend backed Endless Winter. That's why we didn't, because we're like, okay, we can play it with him. Yep. So we'll have access to it. So we didn't. I'm just gonna say hi and stare. Shorty, you will not have been the first person to do that.
Sure.
You won't be the first person to say hi and not quite make eye contact with us. This is no disrespect. We've definitely had people go like, hi. And
I'm like, I'm looking here. Slightly off camera. Hey.
Which is fine. You know. But the main thing we always say that is just like, and I do mean all the way up to the Tom Vassell of the world. It's like we're all just a bunch of nerds.
Yeah, that's true.
Sitting doing the same thing you are. So like just coming up and saying hey, because we're all on the same level.
Yeah.
You know. We really are.
So what game impressed you the most on the first play? Okay, because this is kind of
like something like a Gingoblin.
Honestly, that's what I was gonna say. Probably Gingoblin, because I don't want to say like a game that surprised me the most.
Mm-hmm.
Because I want to say this for a game that like I wasn't expecting nothing from, but I wasn't expecting what we got. Gingoblin is probably, I would say, here's the thing, you know,
we had a good sense that we would enjoy Gingoblin, but I had no idea like the way that it all comes together would be so satisfying.
For me, it's probably Le Havre. Le Havre is a game that I was like, it's a big Uwe game. We like big Uwe games. We'll probably really like this. And it's probably in my top 5. We first played, I was just like,
you're like,
oh my God, that's one of the greatest games I've ever played in my life. So that game probably,
especially games like 2008, and that's way before games got good.
Before games,
way before games
was even alive.
Any game before.
What's up, Board Game Garden? Go follow Board Game Garden right now.
Absolute trash.
Do you think anything will dethrone your number ones? I think My number 1 was on its way to number 2. I don't know what would have been number 1. But my number 1 is viticulture, by the way. I think it would have been on its way to number 2. If not this time we do our top 100, definitely next time. But now with Viticulture World, I think that cemented it back at number 1. I really like Viticulture World. I like the co-op variant of it. I also just really, really like it. I don't think my number 1 is going anywhere right now. I don't think it's going to be there forever. But
I don't know, man. Like,
as my problems with alcohol persist, it's getting harder to play that game.
It's just too triggering, man. My number 1 game is Feast for Odin. I don't know. I'm so
yours has moved around more than mine for sure.
I've had a different number 1 each of the 3 times we've done.
True. You think it's gonna be number 1 still?
I don't know.
I don't think it is.
I don't know what would beholden to the whimsy of the moment with games, and I'm not too precious about it. Like, I don't care. I make a list if any, and this is true, and this is not like it doesn't mean like we don't have the opinions we have. But if we ever do a top 10, you are seeing a snapshot in time of my opinion of games. And it will change. If I filmed that playthrough or that top 10 the next week, it would probably be slightly different.
Yeah.
So it's a snapshot. And so I don't know. I don't know. I don't think Feast for Odin is going to randomly not be in the top 5 or 10.
For you.
But like, I don't know. Maybe I'll go into it as I'm making the list. I'm so stoked on Gingoblin. It just goes and races to the top. Or a La Havre or something.
You and Steph will be friends. We were already friends with Steph. You'll be best friends.
I don't know.
Who knows? Honestly, I don't really know either. I
make no predictions.
I don't think anything's going to take the number 1 spot. The rest of the 10, honestly, I have no idea. We will also do like a comparison video like we did last time we did our top 100. I'm very curious of where it's going to be. Yeah.
On that note, what we're doing for a top 10 that's coming out, tomorrow, we're doing the top 10 games of 2017 revisited.
Yes. Because that was the first time we did a top 10. That was the first time we did a best games of the year on our channel, 2017. So we're like, oh, it's been 5 years, which is wild. So let's go back and so now we're going to do kind of revisit 5 years ago. So we're going to do a top 10 games of 2017 revisited.
How much has our feelings on games changed in 5 years?
I want to let you know a lot. A whole bunch. I was gonna read something,
and that's the funnest thing about games, that you learn more. You've tried more things. Like back when we did our original 2017 list, we hadn't played Clans of Caledonia, and I'm like, dude, Clans of Caledonia is
that's a game
top 20 game of all time for me.
That one might be my top 10.
You know what I mean? So I was like, oh my god, we hadn't tried what we hadn't tried yet.
Biggie Bang said Viticulture World is unnecessarily difficult for us. I am worried that it's going to be too hard. That's the only thing that would make it
very hard.
It's very difficult.
Like, you need to be good at viticulture to play it, and I think that's maybe, I don't know, maybe to get a co-op thing, you're going to already have to be well into viticulture, but I think that's maybe one thing that could hold it back a little. Not for us, because we have played a lot of viticulture, but I'm like, I would not start with Viticulture World. I'd be like, oh, I want to learn viticulture. Should we play the co-op version? I'm like, nope. You have to be good at viticulture.
Play normal viticulture, then play Tuscany, then play.
Yeah. This would be the last thing I would teach. Really, though. It really would be. I'm like, that's kind of one thing. I'm like, oh, that's interesting.
Brian asks, what small or micro game do you always carry? What game do we always bring with us?
Scout will probably be that in the future.
At this point, it's probably Scout. But
we bring like Bandito with us, which is like, we're going to say micro game because it takes up a whole table eventually, but it's just like some cards.
High Society, Bandito.
Yeah, High Society.
Bring like silver and gold. Those ones.
Yeah. Those are basically anything that can fit in a box about yay goes in a backpack for the plane.
I still want to send your 3D printed doors for Caverna. Yeah, I really want to get back into the 3D printing. Our 3D printer is broke. We probably just need to buy a new one. I want to get a resin one. If I have some money around Christmas time, I'll probably buy myself one of those. I do want to start up that series, at least to some degree again, because I really enjoyed doing it.
Board Game Garden, who should subscribe to, says, did you see the new Mind Clash game, straight to retail game Astra? I have not seen that yet, but we've enjoyed what Mind Clash has been doing. Been some cool stuff, so I am curious.
Donna said, if you were stuck in a room with one game for the rest of your life, which one is it? Basically, one game with the most replayability. I'm not going to cheat and say a deck of cards.
If you could cheat, I'm going to say 2 dice. Oh, man.
I don't know. I don't know. Because it's like, again, it's like endlessly replayable. I have no idea. That's always, people always ask, like, what's your desert island game? Like, I don't know. Like,
I mean, maybe go for a Feast for Odin, just because, like, there's so many combinations of those occupation cards you could keep busy forever. Maybe do a Cascadia because it's kind of easy and as the existential dread from you living in a room your whole life seeps in, you could probably still handle Cascadia.
True.
That's a tough one.
The Ark Nova won't be in your top 10, like number 2. It might be. I don't know. I think Ark Nova.
Ark Nova's very
Ark Nova,
likely
I
to be a
think,
top
would be
10
my
game.
top 10. I think so, but I don't really know.
Yeah. My brain refuses to form a top 10. I have a few that I call my favorites. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I wouldn't make top 10s if it weren't for the career we have.
Yeah.
Just because I wouldn't have a need to make a top 10, but they are fun to make. They are fun to make and list things and to think about, like, what do I like the most? What is my favorite thing? You know what I mean?
Eric Moon said you should do some self-evaluation for the last 5 years. How you've changed your game preferences. We did a big Q&A a couple weeks ago where people asked us a bunch of questions. A lot of those kind of questions were answered in that Q&A. So go watch that video because we did answer. Who is A. Burr? Aaron Burr.
Aaron Burr.
A.
From Hamilton. There's a song where they say their initials A. Burr and A. Ham. Alexander Hamilton and Aaron Burr.
Indeed. Well, alrighty, fam. I think we'll call it there. Thank you so much for being here for Rap Reviews. Thank you so much for all the questions in chat. Thank you for being here live. We usually do this within the first week of the
sometimes it lines up on the
first of the month. Sometimes it does, which is always very, very nice. But nonetheless, make sure to check out all the rest of our stuff. Make sure to check out Mike's Metagame Minute, which also came out today. Make sure to check out our top 10s coming out tomorrow, and just check out all our stuff. We've been really, really pushing YouTube a lot lately, and really kind of like trying to up our stuff and doing shorts and a whole bunch of new videos. And it's been really fun, and it's been really gratifying. And yeah, so just keep on around, keep liking everything, subscribe if you haven't, and yeah, man. Is there anything else?
That's all I got, man.
Okay, cool.
What you said is what I would have said.
That's what I would have said.
And that's all we got. Have a fantastic one, everybody. We will see you real soon. Thanks for joining us once again. Appreciate it.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.